Hello and welcome to our new YouTube channel, Sons of Atom, which launched today. I'm very excited to see where this journey really takes us, but you've got to consider life is short, time is limited, and none of us are getting any younger, right? So thanks to the 100 plus people who have subscribed prior to any content actually being uploaded to this channel, in anticipation, I suppose, and with very little promotion from myself, we'll be discovering ourselves and each other, and we'll be covering a variety of topics, one video per week to begin with, and hopefully this channel can grow quickly and with more frequent content. But for now, this channel is in test phase. So for our first subject or topic, a pretty controversial one at that, but if you leave your emotions out of watching this video, perhaps you'll think a little differently about the opinions you were subconsciously rigidly aligned to. So have you ever gazed into a mirror or looked out of a window and wondered just what the hell is going on in the world? When did this world become such an unmitigated disaster? When did humanity suddenly become so confused about the most obvious of things? When did billions of intelligent people on this planet choose divisiveness over togetherness? When did we become so self-centered, lovers of ourselves, the selfie generation? And when did common sense take a, extended vacation? And when is it coming back? When is probably not the right question to ask. The question we should be asking is, why? And who does it benefit? Certainly not us. More specifically, the abundance of groups and organizations seemingly fighting for voices to be heard in a battle of equality and the right to self-determination has become exponential. One such group is fighting for laws to be changed so that the everyday man, woman, and child are forced via legislation, laws, to accept that women identify as men and men identify as women, and you have to, just accept it. Transgenderism has been a hot topic over the past decade or so, and I'll say this, I am not opposed to the trans or LGBT community, also known as the alphabet mafia. It's really none of my business how people choose to conduct their lives, so long as it doesn't affect how I conduct mine or the lives of my children. But unfortunately, it does, and it is. If governments are legislating, creating new laws to make it an offense to refuse to call a transgender woman Susie or Jennifer in a public space, or the idea that a trans person could use whatever toilet that fits whatever gender they have identified with, some people may take issue with that. We are being forced to accept the reality we know, a reality that has worked for humanity for thousands of years. We're being told to reject this reality. Here is a new reality, accept it or be the obstacle to the progression that must and will be removed. One example would be that, look at what's happening in Scotland, in the UK. The Scottish people are being told that they must accept a new version of reality, a socially engineered reality that is an inversion of the natural order of the universe. They say new or extended laws must be introduced to protect certain groups like the trans community, but we already have laws to protect people of all descriptions, all groups, color, race, religion. Even the lawmakers and law enforcers break those rules. In 2023, people of color are still being assaulted, killed, and often treated like second, third, fourth class citizens by the authorities. No doubt I am already being accused of being transphobic. You only need to call someone who identifies as trans by their birth name to be labeled transphobic. You don't have to agree with every lifestyle. You don't have to agree with every lifestyle choice somebody else makes. You have a right to an opinion. People have the right to be outraged by that opinion. They don't have to engage with you or with me, do they? Do not submit to extremism, disillusion, delusion. I have heard of men being accused of transphobia for simply saying they would only date a natural born woman. So if I refuse to date someone knowing that they were born male but live as a female, and my only objection to dating that individual is that reason alone, why am I accused of being transphobic? As a heterosexual man, I am not particularly attracted to gay men. Does that make me homophobic? Make no mistake, this truly is an inversion of reality, and I'm not religious. More spiritual, definitely not religious. An attack on sex, on gender, on race is an attack on humanity. Make no mistake. There seems to be a deliberate attempt to undermine what we know as humanity. For instance, the percentage of relatively modern trans-related issues is nothing compared to the centuries of systemic racism, misogyny, and inequality on a global scale. According to a 2022 Gallup poll, less than 1%, that's 0.8% of those born before 1942 do not identify with transgender issues of any description, but that has increased to 20% for Generation Z, those born in the 90s. How about we attempt to fix, the things that are already wrong? Let's attempt to fix with all hands on deck, fully focus on eradicating racism with education and meaningful and acted upon laws, enact laws before we jump on the other issues that are nowhere near as immediately pressing. I mean, I can choose to change from a man to a woman with just a pill, but I cannot, and let me make this clear, would not choose to change the color of my skin, the skin I was born in, regardless of what negatives that may come with. But what if, just what if black people started claiming they were white people because that's how some of them identify? Would you accept it? I honestly don't believe the individual would be taken very seriously, do you? But we are to take seriously that Joanne feels like she should be a Jonathan because that's what she identifies with. Or Jonathan should be a Joanne. And let's just ignore the fact that, Jonathan still has male anatomy, body parts, bits and bobs, and looks undeniably male. And, let's just imagine that Joanne also looks undeniably female. Like I look undeniably like a person of color. Perhaps I will identify as an astronaut next week and go work for NASA. Let's see how that works. I jest, but this is serious stuff. Make no mistake, in my experience there are two types of mindsets within every organization. The moderate mindset and the extremist mindset. Moderation in most things I can deal with, but those extremists have an agenda all of their own, and it usually involves coercion, forced ideology, and ultimately results in cultural wars. The culture wars. You've heard that, haven't you, that term, that phrase? One such example of an extremist can be found in this Twitter post from a group naming itself the Transcultural Mindfulness Alliance. Tell me this does not sound like insanity unfolding before your very eyes. And I quote, "To those who are unsure how it works, you do not need to bleed to have a period. You do not need to ovulate to have a period. A period is a state of mind than an actual state of being. So yes, transgender women can absolutely have periods and need free hygiene products paid for by the taxpayer, I take it." Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the deconstruction of reality as we understand it, as we know it, the deconstruction of reality in real time. There are children as young as 5 years old, perhaps there are examples of even younger, but we have parents encouraging their children to explore their gender choices at aged 5. What does a child know of these things unless you fill that child's head with this nonsense? Kids want to play, be happy, have fun, just be a kid, But because of the overzealous, overly liberal, wishy-washy parenting, it's confusing an entire generation of children. By the year 2033, some of the 5 to 10-year-olds of today will be almost unrecognizable. You may have went to school with Timmy, but Timmy became an adult and is now known as Tammy. Look, if you genuinely feel you are trapped in the wrong body, perhaps you should start to see if there's an issue upstairs, i.e. in the brain, and not downstairs, the body. Perhaps not. Perhaps there are really people who legitimately feel they are a woman or a man trapped in the wrong body. But for crying out loud, let the children grow up as children and allow them to make their own informed decisions instead of pushing your new age genderless agenda onto the little ones, skewing the perceptions, a distortion of what it is to be male or female, and why nature decided your sex for you. You had no choice. I'm afraid it's now becoming a public health concern. But why are we identifying with social constructs like race, gender, religion, a gerbil, instead of simply identifying as a human being? Today it's transgenderism, tomorrow transhumanism. But there is no power greater than the sun, the sons of Atom.